Thank you. The good news is I am not going to go over the curriculum for data science. Yay, although we do have one, and it's very similar to what we've heard over the last 2 days with a very strong focus difference than what you've heard, and that is we devote a lot of our time, not just with the technology, but with industry-specific considerations. So we have data management for finance, healthcare, manufacturing, pharma, marketing in general, which are very, very popular programs. But I'm not here to talk about that because we all know about that. I'm here to talk about something that we haven't mentioned yet. And it's a major, major problem. And the discussion that we had just before lunch, because of your great question, I thought was going to lead into it, and it didn't quite make it. Many of you know I've been doing IT trends research for over years. And we've known for a long time that a major, major concern is IT people understanding the business. However, more recently, we are recognizing that a bigger problem is business people understanding IT. And again, it came out a little bit in the discussion that we had late this morning. And what we have been doing is we've been working with Steve Miller from IBM in developing a program to address that void. What do non-IT professionals need to know about big data and business analytics? Oh, sorry, I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce my co-author, who basically did most of the great work, Jeffrey Dick. So Jeff, thank you for your help on this, and I appreciate the opportunity to share it with you. A little bit about me and what we do. I'm a retired IBMer. I was a CIO at IBM. I own lots of products in IBM. I'll share one with you at the end of my time with you. I was basically responsible for starting the management consulting group at IBM, and I was one of the instructors at IBM's Executive Education Center. I retired, and I decided, like many of you, I had my PhD, IBM paid for me in those days. I said, I'm going to be a professor. Well, I made a mistake, not becoming a professor, but I also became a dean. And basically started in information systems programs at Stevens Institute of Technology, and we grew it to be literally one of the largest graduate programs in information systems in the world, with over 1,000 students actively participating in our program. So I was at Stevens for a period of time. If you add up all the years I had at IBM and at Stevens, I'm about 135 years old, for those of you who are trying to count. Very different than the young gentleman. There you are. We're on the opposite ends of the spectrum of our careers, so to speak. But I got frustrated because I recognized that there was a significant void in what was needed out there in IT management education. And universities, not my university alone, were just too slow to respond, as we heard earlier today also. So I started my own company, where we now have 32 IT management certificates. Each certificate is comprised of 4 courses. Each course is equivalent to one of your master's courses. In fact, our courses are used for master's transfer credit at over 24 universities around the globe. I've got over 250 faculty from all over the world, from some of the best universities in the world. And we have over 1,000 students actively in our programs. You name the geography, we've got something going. We would be happy to talk to you about your universities because, like IBM, my heritage, we work with universities to provide help to them in offering our programs, and then turn it over to them, and God bless you, it's yours. Because our programs don't duplicate what you currently offer. We try to offer things that you currently don't offer and help you grow. We also offer programs with management organizations and a major company, if major companies would like us to do a program. You mentioned, somebody had WePro. You had, no, it wasn't you. Somebody had a WePro education. We have a huge education program with WePro, as an example. So that's who we are real quick and who I am. Now, the animation isn't working. I've got the same problem. So the wonderfulness of my time in trying to get animation is gone. But the message is still there. As I said, I've been doing IT trends research for well over 15, 20 years. And the top technologies aren't of any surprise to you. What may be a surprise is that business analytics has been #1 for 15 years. Where have you been? Where have I been? Right? I mean, you'd think by now we have our programs together and we're out there delivering and preparing IT professionals to do the kind of job that's necessary. And I think we now are getting better in understanding what's needed. It's not just data, it's not just statistics, as I call it. It's not just the tools. It's also understanding the industry, understanding the business. But what's still missing is, again, getting the business people to recognize the value of what we're doing. But this is really significant. Over the last several years, around the globe, more and more organizations, big, medium, small, it doesn't matter, are generating revenues from IT. Wow, that's so exciting. Something I've been pushing when I first joined IBM. Leveraging IT for revenue. And a large part of that is data and BA. But we're still struggling. Companies are still struggling. They still don't get what the opportunities are. And we're not helping. Well, this would be much better. But every company, when they hire people, they're looking for the pay scale of a 20-year-old with the energy. Yes, it's me, don't laugh. The energy of a 30-year-old, the experience of a 40-year-old, and the wisdom of a 50-plus-year-old. Well, it doesn't exist, right? You two are going to get that old, so stop. I was a middle manager in IBM already at that point in time. Anyway, we can't produce these people fast enough, and probably can't produce them at all. But we do need to recognize what gaps are out there and how we could respond. And I think these kind of meetings and what IBM is trying to do is spot on to trying to really address the opportunities that are available to us, our countries, companies we work with, and more importantly, our students. So technology is essential, not a question. All right? Nobody's going to argue that. However, the biggest challenges are technical. We need to prepare. It's polymorphic. We need to prepare business analytics, big data. But the people have totally different perspectives and views of the world, right? Each and every one of them. And we are focusing more here, a little bit less here, almost not here, and probably nothing there. And what we've come up with Steve is we got to focus down here. Because if we're going to leverage IT to increase revenues in the company, if IT and business are going to work closer together, if business people don't understand what they have to do to leverage IT more effectively and more efficiently, it's not going to work. So everything we said so far yesterday and today are spot on. We've got to basically focus on the technical stuff. We've got to motivate the younger generation. But if we don't also get the non-IT people to understand, and it doesn't mean they need to understand how to code, but they do need to understand things like the role of IT, the value of IT, governance considerations, et cetera. And we'll share with you some of those things. So the important questions that aren't technical, coming up with a strategy, not a technical strategy, a business strategy that is enabled or driven by IT. Wow. Because that's happening more and more. Where does this fit? Where does this new function fit within a company? Where does it fit within IT? Does it belong to IT? Many, many people are suggesting this whole big data, business analytics belongs outside of IT. In many cases, you've read Gartner Group, it should go to marketing. It's happening. We are going through a major transformation. And we in academia, if we don't understand it and recognize it and prepare our students, whether they're young kids or our graduate students or in our executive seminars, we're missing the boat, missing the opportunity. The storing, the analysis, all important. We talked about this yesterday, and I'm glad to see we've talked about it again today. This is important. You know, maybe the data scientist needs a little bit less of the business and industry and communicative skills, but certainly as you go down the line into IT and move up the ranks in IT, if you don't understand the business and the industry, and you can't effectively work with your business partners, you're not going to be able to increase revenues. I don't care how good you are. It's just not going to work. Who should be responsible? Should it be IT? Should it be a separate organization? Should it be part of the business? And ethics is always an important issue. The role of this new job, chief data officer, perhaps chief analytics officer, a lot of controversy. Do we need another C-level position? Should that person report to the CEO permanently? Should it report to the CEO temporarily? Should it report into IT? Where in IT should it report? More importantly, what are the skills of that person to be successful? And that's what we're trying to focus on. We're not saying it should report to the CEO or should not, because there are times it makes perfectly good sense to report to the CEO. There are times it makes perfectly good sense to report to the marketing executive. It makes perfectly good sense to keep it within IT. It depends on lots of things. And what we're trying to do is teach people some of the considerations that they need to be cognizant of as they make decisions regarding the direction their company is going to go. So enterprises have to define all of these. Who's got the ownership? Who's got the authority? Shouldn't be IT. Besides strategies, you have to focus on the tactics and operational considerations. Maybe more IT, but it still needs business people. Do we insource it? Do we outsource it? Do we do some combination of it? Do we do it on the cloud? Do we do it internally, externally? United States, India. Your question was terrific this morning. Whose responsibility is it to demonstrate the value of what this initiative is doing? Well, I'll tell you this. It shouldn't be IT. The business gets its value not from technology. The business gets its value from how they change what they do to take advantage of the technology. That's business responsibility with IT people working with them. And if business people are not supportive, don't understand what they need to do, we won't be able to demonstrate the real impact that we're making on the overall company. Governance at strategic, tactical, operational perspectives. Fundamental, and becomes much more complex in this new world of big data and business analytics. Security, privacy, enough said. Innovation. Where do these ideas come from? They don't come just from IT, and they don't come just from the business. It's how IT and business work collaboratively together. And I spent, some of you know, my major research is in IT business alignment. And we are still not there. If you don't like the word alignment, you can use integrated, fused, whatever word you prefer. That doesn't matter. The relationship that exists between IT and the business is still not close to what it should be universally around the globe. There are some exemplar examples, but overall, in all due respect, we suck. Right? That's French for those not from Montreal. Suck. Sacre, suck. Okay. But these are not technical and they're not purely IT considerations. So we got to continue what we're doing, because you're doing great stuff in preparing some of the IT people for the technical things. But we've got to recognize some of these non-technical things, these non-IT things. And we have to prepare the young people, and certainly as they move up into their master's programs, graduate programs, executive programs, we've got to make sure they understand what they should be doing. And don't scare them, because today, the typical IS course that I've seen in many, many MBA programs, one day on programming, one day on database design, one day on networks, one day on infrastructure. These are cool for IT people, but not the business people. They need to know those, the kind of things that we've been talking about. So we've come up with, we have a 4-course certificate, and basically we give people the option of selecting 4 of the courses from these 6. They're all described. The complete descriptions are online on the web. If you're interested, I'd be delighted to chat with you in getting involved with us in any way you'd like to get involved with us. But real quick, because I know I'm over my time, the first course basically puts the candidate in the role of a CIO from a strategic, tactical, operational point of view. What does it take to run the entire organization? The second course is similar to the first, but instead of focusing in on the CIO, we focus on the CAO or CDO. Right? What's your role from a strategic, tactical, operational point of view, whether you're an IT person or a non-IT person? The third course takes a look at where we are and, more importantly, where we're going with this stuff. Because we want to be Wayne Gretzky, right? Canada, right? Hockey. You go to where the puck is, not to where it is. We need to take a look at where the puck's going to be and prepare our students for where the puck is going to be with this technology and how they could leverage it in their respective organizations. This focuses on the business and what their role must be to succeed in leveraging business analytics and big data. This course looks at the human resource and organizational considerations. What are the right skills? Where should it report? Why? Temporarily, long term. Very, very complex. And this, we're going to see more and more and read more and more about how we address this, because this is important. And last is where this one focuses more on analytics. This focuses more on data and the role of the data organization, of the organization. So these are the courses that we have. We've got a couple of the instructors here. I'm delighted to be working with Steve and his team and building these courses. We are still learning, because this is new stuff. We think it's pretty powerful. We really believe it fills an important gap that currently exists. And if it doesn't get filled, I don't know how we could possibly succeed. Now, this is a real picture. This is real, except for two things. The score. One of the products I owned in my old days at IBM was artificial intelligence and expert systems. And the team that built Watson, some of the gray-haired people remembered me and invited me to play. And I erased this. I had 0. Okay, all right, I'm an honest guy. But I show this to you because we need to take a look at what's happening in the future with Watson, where IBM is taking Watson, and what's happening with autonomous computing and robotics automation. These two things taken together are going to change all of our jobs in IT, perhaps more so than anything that ever has taken place before. Bar none. And if we don't start thinking about these things, we're going to be behind the 8 ball. And we are starting now to prepare programs, technical as well as non-technical, to prepare people for these things. So if anybody's interested or people know about it, I mean, I've got some people on the team already, Carnegie Mellon, MIT, really cool people, but we've got to get ahead of the game. Because we're far behind with business analytics. We're certainly not going to be ready for this stuff, which is even more significant. I thank you for your time. I'm sorry I've taken longer than my 3 minutes, but I'd be delighted to chat with you about these opportunities and certainly appreciate your feedback, ideas as to how we can do it better. Thank you.